Thanks, Ray.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing all right.
Do you agree with Commissioner Tisch that what happened in Washington Square Park with the snowballs was criminal? And how can you take steps to prevent something like this doesn't happen again?
So I've seen videos of kids throwing snowballs at members of the NYPD in Washington Square Park. And first I want to say that officers have been on the front line of helping our city respond to this blizzard. They have been keeping New Yorkers safe, and they have also been at the heart of our efforts of digging New Yorkers' cars out of these kinds of conditions and ensuring that our ambulances, our MTA buses can keep functioning across this city. They and our entire city workforce deserve to be treated with respect. The only person in our city's workforce who deserves to be treated with a snowball is me.
Thank you. Dan,
Do you know for sure they're kids or they're adults? And a second question is, what went wrong on Staten Island that you couldn't clear it out yesterday, even with the snow hitting it hard on the hilly and narrow streets?
So with Staten Island, what we saw is snowfall of 28 to 30 inches across the borough. And as you said, there are certain conditions on the island that make for snow response to be quite a difficult task. That is why we were taking an accurate every hour estimation of what the response was, what we needed to supplement. And I'm very thankful, frankly, in our sanitation department, the hardworking men and women of the DSNY, for their up-to-date changes in ensuring that we were sending enough personnel and equipment out there. I don't know, Commissioner, if you want to add anything.
Yeah, I just want to just stress that all the areas we're having challenges are narrow streets where there's very limited space for the snow to go. When we're plowing the street, we're plowing it to the right. So that snow has to go somewhere. If that snow has no room to go, it creates challenges. So as we went plowing yesterday morning, we were finding a lot of those challenges became more apparent, and that's when we immediately made adjustments to bring extra personnel and equipment to the island, and we continued that last night from out of boroughs and including private contractors, as well as tonight. We're going to bring everything we can in there.
Question, you said that there were kids throwing snowballs. Do you know that for a fact, or is it possible these were adults?
I can just tell you from the video I saw, it looked like kids at a snowball fight.
Thanks. Josie, go ahead.
Hey, Mayor, how are you?
Hey.
I wondered, I know the Chancellor talked a little bit about the attendance. Were there bus delays, teacher no-shows? Can you give a little bit of a fuller picture if you can?
Yeah.
And I have a second question.
Go for it. Yeah.
What do you think of the Working Families Party endorsing Antonio Reynoso after your team pushed for them to back Claire Valdez?
So I'll start with the second question, then I'll go to the first question. I am heartened by the fact that WFP chapter members voted for Claire Valdez. She is an incredible assembly member and someone that I'm so excited to be supporting, and I look forward to her being elected as the next congressperson to represent that district. And I think that she possesses within her a unique ability of bringing forward the exact things that have been missing from our politics for far too long, not just a fight for workers at the heart of our politics, but also an understanding of the importance of unions and what increased union density can mean in the fight against income inequality, especially as someone who rose through the ranks of UAW, which is also a union that she's been endorsed by. And can you remind me of your first question?
I wanted to ask.
Oh, about buses and teachers, yes. So right now, I would say on an average day, we have about 150,000 students who take the bus to school. As of now, we've only received about 78 students' complaints that they're not been able to access those buses. And of the 8,000 routes, about only 15 of them reported delays. And with teachers, we have a workforce of about 78,800 teachers. About 12,000 of those teachers called out today. We were able to have more than 5,000 substitute teachers fill in their places.
Thanks. Liz, go ahead.
Hi, Mr. Mayor.
Hi, Liz.
I want to ask you two questions. One about the snowball incident. So you had the NYPD commissioner call it criminal. You had the governor weigh in and condemn it. You had a former governor weigh in and also tweet about it, demanding that you make a statement. How much of this is an overreaction, do you think? That's my first question. And then, do you want me to wait for the second?
Let's get them all.
Second question is about the Hunter College professor who made a racist remark during that Zoom about the Upper West Side school relocation. Can you talk about what you think is the appropriate punishment for something like that? And what does it say about the underlying tensions, you know, that are going on in that debate over school relocation?
So I'll just first start with the second question, and then I'll also let the Chancellor share a few words. I think just before I pass it over, there's a reprehensible comment. And I think it is indicative of the exact kind of language that makes students feel as if they don't belong within our public school system. We are looking to build a public school system that is home for each and every person that calls this city home. And that's not what that language engenders. I'll just let the Chancellor add a few words.
I agree. It was abhorrent to listen to, and our students deserve so much better. And so we'll be working with the superintendent. As you know, I know that district quite intimately, and we'll be really leaning in and working with the school communities to make sure that we repair any harm that was done to our students and think through what our next step is regarding building the capacity of our teachers to deal with the underlying conditions that exist in our city when it comes to some of our concerns about schools.
Can I ask as a follow-up to the mayor, do you think she should be fired?
I think that's part of what the Chancellor said in terms of investigating the next steps that should be taken.
And on the Snowball incident, are people overreacting, you think?
You know, I'll leave it to others to share their opinions, but I've shared mine.
Mr. Mayor, I want to follow up on the Snowball incident. The head of the PBA says that the people who were involved in attacking the police officers should be charged criminally with assault on a police officer. I wonder if you agree with that, if those people can be identified.
You know, I don't, from the videos that I've seen, it looks like a snowball fight.
Mr. Mayor, in terms of the Code Blue, how long do you plan to continue that, and also continue the extra numbers of outreach workers?
At this time, our enhanced Code Blue is set to continue through tomorrow morning. Obviously, we will keep New Yorkers up to date if that's going to be extended. However, I do want to just take an opportunity, as you've alluded to, the outreach workers have been at the heart of our efforts. And I want to say thank you to them, because what they've been doing is, no matter the conditions, they've been out there and reaching out to homeless New Yorkers, being able to make more than 250 placements. And their engagements with homeless New Yorkers have also helped to inform all of the steps we're taking to expedite our medium and long-term policies. I'll give you one example. In the response to the prior winter storm, we opened up additional shelters ahead of schedule. As we were learning of the scale of the need, we've been looking to expedite that across the board. So one of those shelters we opened up in Upper Manhattan in the response to the last storm, we now just added an additional 100 beds to that shelter. The reason that's important is we need to be able to reach out to homeless New Yorkers and present them with a wide variety of options. There are some homeless New Yorkers for whom they want to go to an H&H mobile van. There are others for whom they want to go to a warming bus or a warming center in a DOE school or an H&H site that's been repurposed as a warming site. And there are others for whom it's a shelter setting. We want to make sure we have every single option available so we can get New Yorkers off the streets. And as of now, I'm thankful to report that there are no reported deaths outside or in public areas as a result of this blizzard.
Thank you. Jason, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor,
Hey, how's it going?
you have trees falling?
Yes.
There's a massive three-story tree that's fallen in Crown Heights, Brooklyn. It's crossing the street, blocking traffic, and it's cradled by a second tree dangling over cars and pedestrians. The tree fell yesterday. So my question is there a website or something that residents can go to see an ETA for removal? And my follow-up is, does the city have a system in place to evaluate older large trees to see if there's a danger, if they're storm-worthy, et cetera, especially with climate change and everything else?
So I think, do you have the cross streets of the tree that you're referring to?
Yes, it's Park Place and between Bedford and Franklin and Crown Heights.
Okay, I appreciate that. We'll follow up on that immediately. I think the first thing that I would say is for any New Yorker who sees a downed tree, of which we've seen many of them in the response to a historic blizzard, to call 311 to make sure that we have the information regarding that. That's how we've built this database of the many downed trees we've seen across the city. I'm going to pass it over to my Deputy Mayor for Operations, Julia Kirsten, just add a few words.
Right. Thank you. We have the Down Tree Task Force that has been functioning for the last few days and is working now. We will absolutely go look into that situation and figure out how we can expedite the removal of that tree. And you should let, I don't know if Parks Department Commissioner wants to speak at all. Do you want to tell us a little bit?
So just to confirm what the deputy mayor has said, we have a down trees task force. We're very proud to convene that with emergency management, NYPD, FDNY, and to date, I believe we have 46 known locations where we have trees that are blocking streets. We are working very hard to address all of those locations, and we'll certainly take back that specific one to make sure that that's on our list. In total, as the mayor said, we have 1,800 requests for service that have come in to date. Every single one of those are being inspected right now, and then we are prioritizing first block streets, then any trees that are on top of private homes, and then we'll continue to tick down all of the requests as they come in.
All right, got time for just one more. Moses, go ahead.
Hi, Mayor. I was to ask about the Snowball incident. Were any NYPD officers facing any injuries? And then secondly, do you have any hopes for the upcoming rental ripoff hearings?
Yeah, I'll start with the second question, then go to the first. Our hope in these rental ripoff hearings, one of which will be held in each borough, is to hear from New Yorkers as to the struggles they faced as tenants and dealing with the private market, especially with the kinds of junk fees that many of them have reported to the city and the ways in which those experiences should inform city policy. That is a key part of these hearings. It's not simply an outlet for New Yorkers to share their own experiences. It's an opportunity for them to inform what city policy will look like going forward, because accountability is a critical part of ensuring that each and every New Yorker has a safe and habitable home. And I think that for far too long, New Yorkers have not seen that, both in the policy that has been created and also in the actions that city government has then taken.
And then on the Snowball incident, did the NYPD officers face any injuries?
I think that there were 2 officers who were facing lacerations on their face.
Of those who...
Look, I've seen the videos of this snowball fight. I think that it was a snowball fight.
Thank you all so much.
What do you think about